Good morning, planet Earth. I'm Mango Thunderslice, and you're tuned in to the weekly Anarchist news for September 4th, 2016. What a wonderful week, as always. The title today is Drugs, Drugs, Drugs! Alright, because we got a lot of stories having to deal with drugs today. We've got full spectrum drug shenanigans across all types of this topic. We've got stories today. In case you haven't heard, Big Brother, the U.S. federal government has a drug problem, okay? He really likes some drugs, and he really hates other drugs. In either case, both sets of drugs are very profitable because, guess what? Humans want them, whether it's to stay healthy or to, fix some disease or just to feel good. Drugs have been around for thousands of years, and they're not going anywhere, no matter what Big Brother says. So, to start off, the USA federal government says it is okay to ban sales of firearms to medical marijuana card holders. And their argument is, even though it's legal at the state level to have these medical marijuana cards, it's still illegal at the federal level. And so apparently it's too dangerous to allow a medical marijuana user to have a firearm. Only in Nevada, my home state, would a legal case start wherein a medical marijuana card holder tried to buy a gun and was denied. And to add on to that, the person who had the card, who started this case that led to this ruling, didn't even smoke. It was just a libertarian-minded individual who just wanted to have the card to show the government that that's something that they wanted and participate in. So that's funny. I guess it's okay to arm poor, violent thugs and herd them into the military as hired killers. But stoners, no way. Way too dangerous. Can't let it happen. Okay. So cannabis is Schedule 1 controlled substance under the Controlled Substances Act of 1971, which means it has no medical benefit whatsoever. It is up there with cocaine and heroin and methamphetamine. Yeah, that totally makes sense, right? And now another harmless plant is getting added to the Schedule 1 section of the Controlled Substances Act, and that is Kratom. In case you haven't heard of Kratom, it's basically a safe and natural plant extract. It's kind of an opioid, and it's good for rehabilitation for people who are getting off of the synthetic, really, really bad shit like OxyContin and heroin, which are really, really powerful opioids. And Kratom is a plant that people use. It's very safe. The DEA says it's killed 30 people over the whole course of history. I think what that more accurately is that 30 people have died who had it in their bloodstream, which doesn't say anything at all about Kratom killing them. So it's totally safe. It's a pain-relieving leaf that sedates or stimulates based on the dose. It's totally safe. And whereas heroin and OxyContin overdose leads to 28,000 deaths per year, alcohol alone, which of course is legal, leads to 88,000 deaths per year. And FDA-approved drugs, the drugs that the FDA says, okay, good to go, kill 100,000 people per year. 1 million people in America killed over the last 10 years by the FDA. Thanks, guys. You're doing a bang-up job. And the dubious DEA stats said that 30 people have died. Total bullshit. These pathetic, actually no, alright, so and they say it's an epidemic because 660 calls to poison centers in the United States from 2010 to 2015. 5 years. That's 110 per year. One about every 3 days. In a country of, 330 million people? Yeah, real terrifying scourge of the population, you jackasses. Oh my goodness, these pathetic bureaucrats aren't fit to lick stamps, and they should all be fired. Yeah, they should. And so moving on, in France, a backpack full of cocaine, valued at $55 million, was found at a Coca-Cola plant. That's 370 kilos. Maybe it was multiple backpacks. That's a lot of coke to fit in a backpack. It was found in a shipment of orange juice concentrate from Costa Rica. Maybe Coca-Cola is going back to the ultra classic formula. In case you don't know, the original Coca-Cola was called Pemberton's French Wine Cola, and it was made with ingredients including the coca leaf, which is where cocaine comes from, the cola nut, which is another, kind of mild herbal stimulant, Damiana leaf, which is a nice kind of relaxing sedative, and cocaethylene, which is basically cocaine in an alcohol solution. Woo, that sounds a lot more refreshing than Coke today, huh? Oh man, in legal drug world, Hillary Rodham Clinton says that she will force drug companies to lower their prices in instances where they just, without cause, raise their prices. It's kind of like the EpiPen thing I made a video about. I killed Obamacare. There's more about that topic in that video. So Hillary says she's going to force the government to lower the drug prices, even though the whole reason, as I alluded in that video, that drug prices are high to begin with is because of the United States federal government and their bullshit. So, the U.S. federal government is now using force to fix the consequences of the USA using force to disrupt the natural free market among human beings. So, all of this is a crime against nature, and all of these people enforcing it are going to be remembered as Nazis. And one day they will all be prosecuted as were the Nazis. And the people who said, "Oh, I was just following orders," well, you can look up the Nuremberg trials and come to your own conclusion. Anyway, moving on to the ongoing collapse of the American empire. So at the G20 meeting, one of these total circle jerks where all the world leaders meet up together and talk about something, nothing, anything. So what's interesting and funny about this one is China totally snubbed Obama. So Air Force One landed on the tarmac at the airport in China. They didn't even bring up the staircase. He had to come out through an emergency exit. They didn't bring the staircase up to the plane. Not only that, they get off the plane and I guess there was almost a fight broke out between the Chinese officials and some of Obama's staff members, because they weren't obeying China's rules that they had set. So yeah, lots of just crazy shenanigans on the airport tarmac. Just showing Obama hey, we're done with your bullshit and we don't like you anymore. Bye bye. Meanwhile, the Russian President Vladimir Putin showed up. They brought out a glowing staircase. I swear to God. The image might have been like Vlad Putin showing up at Burning Man. It's a glowing staircase. He came down like a rock star. Oh, that's not too subtle message from China about where they stand in the world. Moving on to Europe, the T.T.I.P. Transatlantic Trade Investment Policy, I forget what it stands for, is one of those stupid free trade deals, that the American empire has been seeking to implement on Europe. But now the people of Europe had said, no, we're not doing this. France and Germany have basically, and the citizens therein, have basically destroyed the TTIP. The talks broke down because they all pretty much came out saying the same thing. This is American demands on us. It's imperial bullshit. We get nothing in return. And so, yeah, jog on. So that's a great thing. Now we await Obama to ratify the TPP, which is another free trade deal in the Pacific Rim, before leaving office. The ultimate bitch move from, a little bitch president and a whole hallmark of little bitch moves. Hillary will authorize the TPP if she is elected ruler of the universe, and the secret corporate court that would overrule national laws. Trump will kill the TPP. Hillary says she will, but she won't, and she only says so because the Bernie Sanders supporters would completely eviscerate her in public if she would actually admit that. Moving back to the Middle East, Turkey continues its war on the Kurds in northern Syria. The Kurds are allies of the USA. Basically, Turkey is saying, fuck you to the empire, we're going to do what we want, and we're not concerned about you or NATO or anything because we've got Russia on our side. So things are definitely changing and turning. And back to the United States, the leader of the Black Panther Party has called the Democrats and its leadership a bunch of pimps. It says Black Americans have been exploited by Blue Team, the Blue Team basically offering them candy, here, you want some free welfare, huh? You want some free money that other people paid for? Here, just vote for the Blue Team and we're going to take care of you. Well, 40 years later, after Lyndon Johnson and the Great Society, And he said, I'll have those N-word voting Democrat for 100 years. And, well, he's succeeded for 40. And hopefully this year some more black Americans will see through the bullshit and vote for something that actually makes sense, if you're going to vote at all, that is. And all in all, many aspects of the total loss of faith in the imperial state can only be good news. And over to our final segment, the Media Land fantasies. Okay, after 273 days without a press conference, the Clinton campaign, this is no joke, their campaign really said this, she says she will totally talk to reporters as soon as she's elected president. Really? Oh man. After all, there's only like 2 or 3 dozen scandals, plaguing her campaign. Why not come out and talk about it? What's she afraid of? Among the pathetic Clinton sycophants in the media, the New York Times says Americans are dumb. And they say Americans are dumb because they don't even know that Russia invaded Ukraine. Maybe because Russia didn't invade Ukraine, okay? Americans are so stupid, they don't even believe imperial propaganda anymore. Oh no! In alt-media land, alternative media land, YouTube goes full communist, basically denies ad revenue to video makers who talk about important topics like war and politics and things like that. So it's not like I was making any money to begin with, but I guess I'm totally fucked, and I don't really care because this is all just for fun for me. Telling the empire that it sucks and it's gonna collapse brings me great joy. I don't do it for profit. And moving on the hunt for man-bear-pig, otherwise known as anthropogenic global warming. The media and the academic loonies are baffled by the big-time ice in the Antarctic and the Arctic. So huge amount of ice extent in the Antarctic, and there's just been a huge increase in the ice in the Arctic Circle as well. All of this compounded by cooling in the Atlantic Ocean, which is very, very key for climate patterns, the multi-decadal Atlantic Oscillation. The Atlantic is very cool, and that's why there's been huge storms all over, northern Europe and Russia, wiping out a whole bunch of the wheat production. But of course this doesn't really fit into the theme that the globe is warming, it's the warmest year on record. Oh my goodness, what are we going to do about the global warming? Yes, apparently they forgot that ocean water moves. Seriously, they're coming up with excuses as to why this cooling is happening, and they're saying, oh, we didn't factor in that the water around Antarctica moves. Yes, perfect science indeed, yet you didn't remember that water moves and circulates. That's cute. We are now reaching the point of critical bullshit, where only those who participate in the government propaganda actually believe it. Everybody else knows it's a total sham, and that is a wonderful thing. So celebrate good times, come on! Because that is what we've all been waiting for the empire and its mouthpieces and its propaganda to lose its effect on the people, and that means it's time for something very exciting for the human species. And final thoughts today will be a separate video again, and its title will be Overpopulation is a Myth. Yes, that's right, and if you want to know more about that, feel free to tune into that. Wholeness and balanced vibrations. Have a wonderful week, everybody. If you like what you heard, comment, like, share, and subscribe. Cheers.